Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a brand new week. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Here we are again. I love Mondays. I love the promise of a brand new week, and I also love the prospect of talking to all my clients during the week and seeing how they're going. Hope you guys have had a great weekend and are ready to tackle a new week. So today we are talking about, the title is Get These 10 Things Right and You'll Change Your Life. And these things are all related to nutrition. And I want to share a fact with you. The right nutrition has the power to completely transform your life. And I know that that is a really big statement, but it is absolutely true. And I think that this is something that is really underestimated, particularly within the field of conventional medicine, but just in general. People don't understand that the type of nutrition that they are feeding their bodies is going to have a really big impact on how they're feeling and ultimately their quality of life. So it's no secret that our world is in a bit of a mess. You don't have to look too far to see ongoing problems with things like wars and mass shootings and even just the mental health epidemic. There are so many problems out there, and you're probably thinking, well, what on earth has this got to do with nutrition? Well, it's got everything to do with nutrition, and I'm going to explain why. So everything that we eat has an impact on the health of our gut. So everything that goes into the stomach will either be feeding healthy bacteria or unhealthy bacteria. And this is important because if you've got an abundance of healthy bacteria, they are going to be producing up to 90% of your serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone or your happy hormone. On the other hand, if you're eating foods that are not so good for your gut, you will be killing off those healthy bacteria. And serotonin is really important because not only does it create that feel-good hormone, but it also helps to produce melatonin, which is your sleep hormone. So you can see that, we've got a population of quite sick people. There's a lot of sick people out there, excuse me. Morning, Tanya, thanks for tuning in. Now, we've got people who are following the standard American diet. It's abbreviated to the SAD for a very good reason. And we've also got a population of people who don't sleep very well. So you combine a bad diet and lack of sleep, and you end up with people who have got not only health issues, physically, but also mental health issues. And there's a really strong link between what's happening in the gut and what's happening in the brain. Now, for every signal that the brain sends to the gut sends 9 signals back to the brain. So this is really underestimated. People don't understand the power of the gut to fix what's going on up in the brain in terms of things like mental health. So I'm not saying that we can solve the world's problems through nutrition, but what we can do is we can solve an individual's problems through nutrition. And that is where we have to start if we want to change the world. But we're not talking about changing the world today. We're talking about changing your health and getting things right for you. And, if you get these 10 things right that I'm going to tell you about, you are going to be well on your way to completely changing your life. How do I know this? Because I've done it myself and I've done it with my clients, and it works every single time. So if you're someone who's feeling a bit, you could be having any kind of health issues, whether it's you're feeling like you've got too much weight on, whether you've got gut issues, sleep issues, autoimmune issues, menopause symptoms. What else is there? Gosh, there's so many things that you could be suffering from. But this is particularly directed at you if you feel a little bit low, a little bit flat. Perhaps you feel a little bit anxious or depressed, and you feel like you're just a little bit stuck and you don't know where to go, where to go next in terms of your health. So these 10 things I'm going to tell you are so fundamentally important. and they are very, very underestimated, and you certainly won't be hearing about them inside your doctor's office. They are not going to be having these conversations with you. We have these conversations with people all the time, and we know that when you get these 10 things right, you're going to be well on your way to not only having a thriving body, but having a thriving mental state. Okay, so the first thing that we need to get right is we need to deal with our food addictions. Now, you might be sitting there listening going, well, that doesn't apply to me because I'm not addicted to anything. Well, I want you to think twice about that. Most of us have some kind of food addiction going on, whether it's a really obvious one where you're maybe binging, or maybe you're drinking too much alcohol, you're having too much coffee. But food addiction can be as minor as needing that muffin at 10 a.m. or needing that chocolate bar at 3 p.m. or having half a packet of biscuits at 8 o'clock at night with your cup of tea. Think carefully about those little habits that you have, and you may not even really be consciously thinking about them when you're reaching for them. But if you are someone who relies on comfort foods, if you rely on certain treats or goodies when you're feeling stressed, it is very likely that you have a food addiction. You must deal with this addiction. And part of food addiction is actually the health of your gut. So what we find with our clients is that when you start working on the gut and getting the gut healthy, and you start feeding your body all this really good nutrient-dense food, addictions start to go away. That need for salt, sugar, fat, excess calories, it just disappears because your body is getting everything it needs, and it's not crying out for extra nutrition, which is where cravings come in. So number one is deal with your food addictions. Number two is get rid of all the excess sugar in your diet. Excess sugar, or sugar in general, has been proven to be as addictive, if not more so, than cocaine. Most of us have a diet high in sugar, but also sugar creates an ideal breeding ground for things like cancer, obesity, autoimmune dysfunction, and it also weakens our immune systems. Okay, so again, you've really got to start thinking consciously about how much sugar you're eating, because if you're reaching for a Tim Tam at 3 p.m. and then another one, you've already exhausted your sugar allocation for the day. And then on top of that, you're probably eating a lot of other sugar as well. So you must get on top of that sugar craving. Again, sugar comes down to one of those things that we can be addicted to. Okay, number three is gluten. Now, gluten is something that we take all our clients off immediately. It is doing nobody any favors, and I don't care if you're listening going, that's a whole load of rubbish. It's not a whole load of rubbish. People don't do well on gluten. Even if you are somebody who doesn't feel any adverse effects from eating gluten, I can guarantee you that gluten is causing a problem in your body. So the reason for this is it contains a lot of toxic and damaging proteins, and gluten has been sort of manufactured over the years to become more toxic and more damaging compared to, say, when our grandparents ate gluten, because there's always that argument that comes up like, oh, well, my parents and my grandparents ate gluten and they were fine. Well, gluten these days is a lot more damaging to the body, and it's in almost every type of food. So if you want to take out gluten, you can't just stop eating bread and think that you're fine. You actually have to start reading food labels, because it's in almost everything, and you will be shocked. You look on the back of a packet of gravy or a packet of chewing gum, and it's got gluten in it. So gluten is one of those things that what it does is it creates, over time, it wears down your intestinal lining. And our intestinal lining have got these little fingers, they're called villi, and those villi get worn down from too much gluten, and then you end up with little like porous holes in your intestinal lining, and then you end up with a problem such as leaky gut. I've been there, done that. It's not pleasant, and gluten was something that I really had to pay attention to. Took it out of my diet, and since then done a lot of research and a lot of just educating myself on the problems with gluten, and I make sure that all our clients come off gluten straight away. Okay, the other thing I need to mention about gluten is that if you've got an autoimmune condition, there is strong evidence now that all autoimmune conditions have their roots in the consumption of gluten. That means that all autoimmune conditions are able to be traced back to the consumption of gluten. Okay, so this is really, really important if you're somebody with an autoimmune condition. You must come off gluten. Okay, number 4 is you must also come off dairy products. I'm sorry guys, I know you love your cheese, and I know you love your yogurt and your whatever, I don't know. What else is dairy? Cheese, yogurt, milk, all those common things that we're told are good for us. They're not good for us at all. Now, dairy products they're very, very high in fat and they are very, very hard for the intestines to break down. Also, dairy is one of those foods that viral and pathogenic and bacterial activity in the body like to thrive on. So as soon as you eat some dairy, all those viruses, pathogens, bacterias in the body are going, woohoo, I've got some fuel, and they will thrive on those foods. Now, we know through our research and through working with our clients that viral activity in the body is a massive problem. It's contributing to pretty much every modern day health condition. So if you want to get on top of your health issues, you need to get rid of that virus in your body. You can't get rid of it completely, but you need to really lower it in the body. And one way of doing that is getting rid of its fuel source. Dairy products is one of its fuel sources. There's also strong evidence now that casein, which is a protein in cow's milk, is cancer causing. Yeah, there is strong evidence now that that is the case. Also, dairy is, it creates as I said, it creates a breeding ground for viruses and pathogens, and therefore it will create mucus in the body. So mucus is a protective mechanism in the body. It's there to protect you. It's not your body being faulty or anything like that. Mucus is a sign that there is a problem in the body. There's inflammation going on that the body doesn't like. It is creating mucus to protect you. So dairy is very mucus forming. Okay, number 5 is meat. Now, I'm not going to tell you to give up meat completely. That's not necessary, although I do always endorse a plant-based diet for sure. The thing with meat is that even lean cuts of meat are high fat. Okay, so anyone on a high animal protein diet eating a lot of meat is automatically eating a high fat diet. Now, meat can be, in excess, it can be really damaging to the gut, and it strips away all your essential stomach acids such as hydrochloric acid. It's very, very hard for the body to break down. And if you have too much meat over the long term, you're going to create a lot of stress on your body, particularly your liver, because your liver's in charge of breaking down all that fat, your kidneys and your bones. So we always say to people, if you want to keep eating meat, that's fine, but just be really cautious with portion sizes. So one palm size piece of meat per day, max. That's your palm and the thickness of your palm. If you're having any more than that in a day, you're having too much. Okay, number 6, you must get away from low carb diets. I know that they're really trendy. Low carb goes hand in hand with high fat. They do not work. I know that this is, everywhere you look at the moment, there's people raving about keto. There's people losing weight on keto. Yes, they will lose weight on keto because they're cutting out other things like processed foods and alcohol and things like that. But over the long term, keto is just going to wreck your body. It's going to wreck your organs, especially your liver and your heart. But getting back to low carb, so what tends to happen on high fat diets is people eat a lot of fat and they cut their carbs right down. That is really dangerous because carbohydrates are the body's main fuel source. Okay, so our body needs carbs, the right kind of carbs, complex carbs. When you deplete your body of carbs and you've got a busy lifestyle, your body's going, well, hang on a minute, I've got no fuel. So to compensate, your body will release adrenaline to keep up with your busy day. This is a disaster for people because what happens is your adrenal glands end up getting burnt out because your body's constantly releasing adrenaline because it's not getting enough fuel. So when this happens, like when your body is constantly releasing adrenaline, which is unnatural, yes, it's supposed to release adrenaline from time to time to keep you safe in dangerous situations, but it's not supposed to be doing that all the time. And we've got people who are living on adrenaline. And you know, the first thing that we do when we start working with someone is we give them an adrenal stress quiz to complete. And the amount of people who are in the crashed zone with their adrenal function is absolutely mind-blowing, okay? Not through any fault of their own, okay? This is information that they are not being told otherwise. But this is really, really important stuff to know. So when your body is releasing too much adrenaline, you become edgy, you become irritable, and then of course naturally your body is going to eventually crave those carbs because it desperately needs them. And that's when you start binging. That's when you start getting your hands on all the pizza and burger and chips that you can find. So you really need to get away from those low carb diets. They don't work over the long term and they produce more problems in the body. Okay, number 7 is alcohol. Complete carcinogen. It's a real toxin in the body. It contributes to a range of chronic diseases. Again, I'm not going to tell you to give it up. In an ideal world, yes, no one would drink alcohol, but that's not reality. If you can get rid of the alcohol during the week and keep it to the weekends, you're going to be doing yourself a massive favor. I work with a lot of people who are drinking too much. It's just a fact. So, you know, we've kind of got into this habit as a society where you have a busy day at work, you come home, you pop open a bottle of wine or a glass of beer or something to take the edge off. And it's people's way of relaxing. Well, okay, maybe one a night. No, I actually wipe that. One a night's still too much. But the thing is that people aren't sorry guys, battery's going flat. The thing is that people aren't sticking to one a night. They're having 2 a night or 3 a night, and they're doing it every single night. So, you know, do your best to get rid of the alcohol during the week. You will notice a massive change with your quality of sleep. You'll start to see those excess kilos falling off. You will feel like a happier person in general. Just keep it to the weekends, 1 night a week. 2 nights at the absolute most. If you can just do 1 night a week with 1 or 2 glasses of alcohol, you're going to be a lot better off. So not only is it a toxin, it also disrupts our hormones, strongly linked to liver disease, breast cancer, and a reduction in lifespan. It's basically full of empty calories, and if you can do without it, just get rid of it. Okay, number 8 is coffee. The most addictive substance in the world, also chronically dehydrating to the body. Every time you have a shot of caffeine, your liver, your pancreas, and your kidneys take a massive hit. Now, again, this is one of those things that in an ideal world, no one would drink coffee, but the reality is that having a coffee is an enjoyable ritual. People like the social aspect of it, and that's absolutely fine. But what we do say is just stick to 1 coffee a day before 9 a.m. in the morning. If you're having it after 9, what coffee does is it spikes your cortisol. Now, your cortisol is your stress hormone, or also your alert hormone. So anything after 9 o'clock, and especially after 12 o'clock midday, is going to screw up your sleep, because we want cortisol low at night. It needs to be low so that you can fall into a deep, restful sleep. Coffee will put it up here. And it's amazing how many people drink coffee all through the day. So stick to 1 a day, preferably before 9 a.m. If you have to wean yourself down, then do it. We don't expect anyone to do this overnight. But coffee is damaging. Too much coffee is really, really damaging. And also, because it stimulates cortisol, the cortisol hormone tends to result in fat gain, weight gain, especially around your middle and around your vital organs. Okay, number 9 is don't be afraid of fruit. There is a real fear of fruit out there at the moment. It blows my mind that doctors are telling people to stay away from fruit. I've just finished working with a 65-year-old man. We've reversed his diabetes in 12 weeks. His doctor was telling him to stay away from fruit. And I said to him, please trust me, you do not want to stay away from fruit. And I gave him a meal plan with tons of fruit on it. His diabetes has been reversed. Fruit is not the problem. Natural sugars from fruit are going to supercharge the healing process. Your organs desperately need fruit. Okay, especially your liver and your brain. They thrive on fruit. So don't listen to anyone who tells you that fruit is bad for you. This is misinformation. And when you really think about it, you know, you can't make much money off fruit. So, you know, this is where the problems are coming in, is that, you know, it's frustrating to me because, you know, fruit is just so important in the diet. And when you think about it, human beings have thrived on fruit for thousands of years. And now all of a sudden there's this thing where fruit is not good for you. It's illogical and it's completely unreasonable, and it's very inaccurate. So eat as much fruit as you can. Just eat as much fruit as you can. Your body will really thank you for it. Okay, number 10 is you must get away from chronic dehydration. Most people are chronically dehydrated. I'd say that probably 9 out of 10 people, when they come to see me and I ask them how much water they drink, their answer is not enough. They're just not drinking enough water. 2 to 2.5 liters a day minimum is what your body needs. On a really hot day, or if you're doing some physical activity, you're probably going to need some more. Now, when your body is chronically dehydrated, it's not going to be able to perform at its best. Your mental health is going to suffer because you're just not getting enough, you know, you're not getting enough good stuff going to the brain, basically, when you're dehydrated. So, you know, these 10 things, they sound really sort of basic and, you know, not powerful enough to really change your life. But trust me, if you can get these 10 things right, you are well on your way to completely changing your life. And yes, there is more to good health than just nutrition. In our coaching practice, we focus on 5 things: nutrition, exercise, gut health, sleep, and addressing the root cause of stress. But I always say that nutrition is the kingpin, because if you might do all those other 4 things really well. If you've got a crap diet, if you're following the standard American diet, you are not going to be well. And therefore, if you're following the standard American diet, your gut is going to be suffering. If your gut's suffering, your mental health is suffering. Okay, so those 10 things, I really want you to pay attention to those 10 things. If you need some help with actioning that, you know who to contact. This is the stuff that we do every day. We put together amazing meal plans for people to make it super easy. And when you get on top of your nutrition, you are going to be away, and you're going to really, you know, once you do it and you notice the difference in your quality of life, you'll wonder why you didn't do it sooner. Okay, guys, thanks everyone for watching. I can see Tanya, Debs. I know that Tanya was on here before, and there's a couple of others I can see, but I can't see your names. So thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. And yep, I'll catch you same time, same place next Monday. If you've got any questions about this, any doubts or concerns, or you want clarification, please just send me a message, comment below, or message me privately. Okay, everyone, hope that was helpful. Go and have a great day, and we'll see you next week. Bye.